Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
There's no turning back now.
Let's put on the show.
You're listening to the Station 71 podcast. My name is Mario, and this week I'm joined by my co-host,
Beth?
And Brian.
So this week we are feeling festive and designing some Christmas overlays. Very excited for this one because I feel like this is going to be an interesting discussion on maybe some things that Disney can do to make the Christmas party a little bit worth it and give some holiday cheer to guests in the park. But first, as always, we have some news to dive into. First thing that we have on here is that Primeval Whirl has been removed from the Animal Kingdom digital map following the recent demolition. Primeval Whirl is no longer on the My Disney Experience app or any of the digital maps.
I love that they actually removed the physical attraction before they removed it from the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is like weirdly sad in a way that's like, I'm not going to miss the ride, but now there's nothing over there.
Yeah, I know. I don't get what Disney's long-term plan is with this. It really doesn't seem like this was completely fleshed out before they tore it down.
Right.
Yeah. And even looking at the map now, it's like they just put like rest areas in the spot where the Primeval Whirl entrance was.
Mm-hmm. They even
Which-
have the
is
little
that even
umbrellas
there?
up in the pictures.
Is
I
that
think
the
it's-
goal, or is that what's there currently? Like, I thought they were still pulling, like, taking stuff away.
It's my understanding that there's still construction walls up, but
Okay.
I don't know.
So the map is lying. There's not actually benches and umbrellas right there.
And there's not all this nice, pretty green space.
Right.
either, I'm
Exactly.
sure.
Wow.
Honestly,
what a
if
farce.
there was benches and umbrellas there, I don't know that would be the spot to go to, right? Because it's like all blacktop. It's probably like hotter there, even under the umbrellas.
Yeah, you're
It's
probably right.
Probably
I
the
mean, if
worst
you-
possible spot.
Maybe if you missed your local state fair and you want to get that ambiance for a minute, you could sit and enjoy it.
Honestly, Dinoland right now is like the end of the state fair, right? Where there's like one or two rides still up that haven't been
Yeah.
torn down, and well, R.I.P. Primeval Whirl.
Mhm.
You will not be missed. The next thing that we have on here is that there is a concept of a new Wine Bar George location coming to the Orlando International Airport. Looks like this will be going in the Terminal C section of the Orlando Airport and is scheduled to open in July 2022. I think this is interesting. You've been to Wine Bar George before, haven't you, Beth?
I have been to the pickup window.
Ah, okay. Close enough, right?
But they had the boozy, like, Dole Whip ice cream sandwich was really good that I had there. And I've had a
Huh.
few cocktails.
Interesting.
But one
I-
place I've never been is MCO. So there's that.
It
That's-
is like your typical big city airport fueled by Disney.
I
Yeah,
know, I
that's-
kind of want to go just because it seems like that's the vibe. I love airports, to be honest. Maybe that's me being like a hot take, but
In my
I will
opinion,
say
that's a very hot take.
I
That is a
love
pretty hot
airports.
take.
I love flying. I love to travel. I don't like driving or being in a car for a long period of time, but I do like to fly. And I like sitting in an airport and getting magazines to read and stupid stuff like that. So I feel like I would like it.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of airports generally, but the Orlando International Airport is pretty great.
Yeah, man. There's nowhere better than an airport to pay, $20 for a cocktail at 10 in the morning.
It is the one place that you can drink that early and nobody will look at you funny, though. So there's
Right.
that.
That's what I'm saying.
You're basically paying for that, you know?
Yes, I'm paying for a judgment-free zone.
There you go.
The last little bit of news that I have on here, I do want to talk about this whole fiasco, so I put this article in here. Guests have received a welcome video for the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, and it's not great. Have you guys seen anything about this?
I've
This is
seen a lot of hullabaloo about people like talking a bunch of crap, but I don't really get why it suddenly became like people wanting to cancel their reservations because the video wasn't good.
well,
So,
I mean, honestly, if you're gonna spend that kind of money on this whole experience and the first like part of that is this welcome video that you get and it's not up to par. I mean, I get that that's kind of a silly reason to back out of the whole thing, but if I was on the fence about it, I can kind of see where if I don't think Disney put a full effort into this video, maybe they're not going to put a full effort into the experience.
so
Yeah.
watching the video looks leftover from like Alien Encounter. It looks like B-roll from that.
Yeah.
But that said, I think the big issue here is like we had this conversation on Discord earlier this week where like there's two ways that Disney could have gone with this that would have made sense, right? Like lean all in Star Wars, go 120% into it, like deep dive for all of the Star Wars fans, or make it an interactive experience that's separate from Star Wars canon. And the way that it was pitched was kind of like this is a Star Wars fan thing. This feels very removed from that logic. And I feel like that's the problem is that they're just not they're taking one side and not going all in, which they really should.
Yeah. I mean, I get that they don't want to alienate. Oh man, that was a bad pun. People
Dang.
Yeah, it
that
was.
aren't that aren't huge Star Wars fans, but that's who's gonna do this, you
I was
know?
about to, who's gonna pay this amount of money and not be a Star Wars fan?
Right. I mean, if I've got that kind of money to drop on a stay at Disney, which I don't, I'm gonna be staying at it's somewhere really special at a really nice room, probably at one of the monorail resorts, for what I would pay to do this, just because I'm not a big Star Wars fan. So I don't get that. Why not lean fully into the Star Wars experience and do it that way?
Right. And that's the part that like is confusing to me is I feel like in a couple years this is either going to like get toned down drastically or it's going to flop and turn into just another hotel.
Well, the thing is, I mean, think about the hotels on Disney property that we really enjoy staying at. You know, Port Orleans, Poly, any like Animal Kingdom Lodge, even like any one of those, I would gladly go back and do over and over and over again. This, I don't know how many repeat stays people are gonna want to do here. And with that, I feel like this very quickly loses like you know, the it factor.
Yeah. The only thing I could think is that if it is truly as immersive as it seems to be at least marketed as, like looking at the concept art making you like a literal part of the story, I could see how people would get kind of addicted to that feeling of like Disney obviously is one of the best I think examples of escapism in general, but this is like next level escapism if it's done as well as it looks like it's going to be done. So I feel like people could if they really enjoy the escapism factor of that they would want to go back. But again, I don't know if it would be it's not going to be a thing that someone probably wants to do every single year or
Yeah.
multiple times a year, whereas, I would gladly stay at the resorts that I've stayed at more than once a year.
Mhm.
I think another thing is the like it seems like there's like some kind of lack of freedom with this resort because obviously, you're not actually in outer space, but the point is that it's because it's an immersive experience that they want you to stay there. So I'm like, obviously they can't stop you from leaving, but they're gonna try. I feel like they're gonna try to do whatever they can to make you stay on property, like stay within the confines of the resort, because that's gonna break the immersion if you leave.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, but you're definitely right about that.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I think this whole thing is just it feels like on paper it's a very good idea, right? Like it feels like this was the next step for Disney immersion, but as we're getting closer to in practice, I'm starting to have a lot of questions. And I think that's a lot of the problem that it's facing right now is a lot of these people that had these reservations are also now having their doubts about whether or not this is actually going to work. And part of me wishes that I was able to swing a reservation for this, right? Because, like, honestly, how long does this last?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like a year and a half, 2 years from now, you're gonna see a pretty huge drop off in price for this experience, just because I don't think that they're gonna be able to continue, booking at full capacity, and they're gonna have to do something to make the money from it.
Do we think this turns out to be like Disney Quest, where they just stop caring and it sits there? Or
I think it's got too much money tied up into it
Mhm.
for it to fall quite as hard as Disney Quest did, but I don't see them being able to carry on with it like they've got it planned to do for, you know, a very extended amount of time.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, at the
fair.
very
Yeah.
least, I feel like you're gonna have to update it or, the technology and the experiences are gonna get pretty old pretty quickly for the guests. So, and that therein was the issue with Disney Quest. So, hopefully, because this has more money tied up in it, Disney will, keep it updated, keep it fresh, so people want to actually come to it.
Yeah.
Right. The money that's gone into it, and also if you think about the resources, like the cast members that they're having to train specifically for this experience,
Hmm. Yep.
I feel like they're not gonna spend all this time and money developing the like cast member protocols and storylines and stuff like that just to let it fall to the wayside in a short amount of time.
Very
That's
true.
fair. Well, hopefully we'll see how this plays out in real time as guests start to make their way down for their Galactic Star Cruiser reservations. I'm sure one of the many Disney news outlets will have an in-depth walkthrough of the experience.
Yes, and you know what? I'm gonna put this out there. If any of our listeners happen to do this, I would love to have you come on and talk about your experience with it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
absolutely. Let us know.
Because God
definitely
knows
agree.
I'm not gonna be able to do this. So
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
well,
the thing I think also that's kind of sucks about the whole situation is that I'm not even a big Star Wars fan, but I would love to try it. But I don't have that kind of money to just blow for 2 nights or whatever the experience length is on something
yeah.
that I'm not super passionate about in the
honestly,
first place. Yeah.
maybe this is a really weird question, but for me, this feels like it's just too much for where it is. And I don't know if you guys get that vibe too, but like, I don't know. We've talked about the justification of like the price of this and everything, and like how you're kind of locked into doing your stay here and everything. But is this too much to add to Walt Disney World? Like, have we hit a point where like I don't want this edition because this makes the stay longer just for that specific thing?
Well, that's what I was just thinking was that it almost seems like this belongs somewhere else, off property, so that it's not tied in. So, I mean, I know that they want to tie in with Galaxy's Edge, and that makes sense. But I'm thinking about this as somebody that comes to Disney to also enjoy Disney for what it is. And like, if anything, I feel like doing this stay and also going to Disney are like fighting against each other with the time you get to spend. So like this almost feels like something that they would put somewhere completely off of any Disney property and just have like a come stay experience, do just the Star Wars thing and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, that's what like that's kind of how I was thinking about it. Is like for me, it's so bizarre because you said it perfectly. It conflicts with the Disney stay, and I feel like if this was anywhere else, I could maybe say like, "Oh, this is an experience that we're going to do." But now it's like, okay, well, for me, I mean, obviously you guys are a little closer, and if this was more something you were into, like you have the chance to do those trips. We go maybe once a year, and you know, looking at it from that perspective, that it's you want to do this as part of your stay. It's blocking 2 full days out of like a 7-day trip for me.
Hmm.
And that's at the
Yeah.
very minimum. That feels like a lot. Um, I don't know. I feel like it's also in this weird space of where if it wasn't tied to Disney, it would die even quicker. But
Mm.
also because like I don't know. I feel like they have Disney to fall back on when this fails, right? Like they have
Yeah.
the parks to, oh, you're staying at the park, stay at our Star Wars themed hotel that was once an immersive experience.
See,
That's
that's
where
the
I see this in the
double-edged sword with this because it's like I feel like Disney is the only company that has the resource and the willingness to train the cast members to actually make this a viable experience. And then at the same time, like you were saying, it's taking away. So it's like Disney's the only people that could probably do it right. And then it's also kind of, the issue with it being at Disney.
Yeah, I almost feel like this would maybe fit better at like I know that this is probably a controversial opinion, but I feel like this would probably fit better at Disneyland if they had the space to do it.
No, I think that's right. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got half as many parks, and honestly, that would maybe, give Disneyland kind of the bigger bump that it needs for it to be more of like a destination park, resort experience rather than like a local thing. So yeah, that would actually make a lot more sense.
Yeah, but I feel
Right.
like because it's not the destination park, that's well, that and the space. The space thing is probably a
Nice,
huge
yes.
factor.
But I also feel like because Disneyland is a locals park that it would get better business because you think about adding this to your Disney vacation, what is like a couple grand, right?
Yeah.
When all
Mhm.
is said and done, it's like you could, like Brian was kind of saying earlier, like that's a lot of money that you could be spending to stay at another hotel, and you're adding this on top of trying to do like all the other stuff that Disney World has to offer. Whereas if it was at Disneyland, then locals not really needing a place to stay normally, they would be like, "Oh, well, I can splurge probably on that because this is like you guys were saying, like this is the experience and it's not like I would be staying in a hotel normally."
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know what I
And that
mean?
the other thing of it too, like for me specifically, we've looked at and going out to California, and there's so many things out there that I would want to do that aren't just Disney. Like I go to Orlando to go to Disney. Like, yeah, there's been times where we've added, Universal on as like an extra, but I'm not going to Disney for Orlando. And if I go to California, I'm going to Disneyland because I'm going to California. Like, there's such an inverse on that. I think
Right.
that's perfectly it, though, Beth. Like, this gives you a little bit more room. It takes a little bit more away from the other things that are out there, and then like I think it kind of would have locked that market in. I think the biggest problem is just where would we put it? And if they had the space, I almost bet that it would be out there.
Yeah.
I almost want to say that I don't see this being on an episode of Defunct Land in 5 years, but that's my prediction for it.
Yeah, I just feel like if I'm spending this much money, I'm not leaving this resort at all. And they're talking about like, oh, you get special transportation to Galaxy's Edge. And I was like, no, I'm
Mhm.
spending so much money. I'm like going to take in every single thing that this resort has to offer. So you better have enough for me to do for 2 full days.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yep.
depending on like what the transportation is to Galaxy's Edge, I would potentially take it just to see what that is. But if it's
Right.
bus service, like, oh boy, that's gonna be brutal.
I imagine it being like a disguised bus with like screen windows. to look
That's
like
what I
outer
would hope.
space. Which again, like you were saying, is like that would be cool to experience once or twice, but like I'm not wasting my $2,500 stay going to Galaxy's Edge when I have an annual pass. I can do that anytime.
Yeah. I also wonder how long it's going to be, and this is maybe just me thinking about like how they monitor their resorts already. People are going to get snuck into this, right? Like, you're there for the experience of it. How long is it going to be before like people are taking other guests to dinner at you know, the restaurant in there and they're enjoying the minor experiences? Or is it a thing like, the parties where you have to scan your magic band to get in? Like, I feel like the security level that Disney has and operates under is not nearly enough to make this as such a exclusive thing as it is.
I feel like it's gonna be bumped up extensively for this resort in
Yeah,
particular.
I don't think that they're gonna allow guests like that. There's got to be some way, and I am very curious about like the ins and outs of this hotel. Is like, they say that when you arrive, you get in a pod and you're launched into space to the spaceship or whatever. But it's like, okay, but like, where is my car during this time? Can
Yeah.
I go out to my car if I left like a bag or something? Like, how do I get in and out of the hotel without breaking the immersion?
Well, that's kind of what I mean, right? Like, so the biggest thing that I can think of right now is that when you go to a DVC resort and you're trying to go to one of their pools, more often than not, you have to tap your magic band to get in and out. There's a gate that locks you into the area, and if you're not staying at that resort, your magic band's not going to open it. The
I think
problem
that's
that
only true for a couple of pools.
I mean, it's most of the bigger ones, like the main ones you would have to get into, like the Poly. You definitely cannot get in there without the magic
Right.
band.
But
But
but I mean, like, I guess you were saying DVC, but it's not hard to get into. Not that I've done this, but I really truly have not like swam in a pool at a resort I wasn't staying at. But I have toured a lot of the resorts and walked directly by the pool
yeah,
with
and I
no
mean,
problem.
so that's what I was kind of like alluring to there. Like you kind of alluding to, you have to like to have that level security almost everywhere. And then, like you said, the immersion of it all, like, okay, what are they going to do to keep the outside world out? Most of this is probably going to be screens on the windows. So, like, you're not actually getting an outside view. You're getting the view of space that they want you to have. And the transports are probably going to be very similar to like Rise of the Resistance and, stuff like that. They're probably using similar technologies to that. But in order to maintain some sort of safety, they have to uh, one, like perfectly said there, they have to allow guests to go to their cars for stuff. Like, if there's an emergency, not everybody's gonna be able to board pods to get out. Like, there's just so many weird logistical things about this that I want to know how this works, but I don't ever see us getting those answers.
I think we will. I think as soon as a handful of people stay there, there's going to be articles all over the internet about it.
Yeah, maybe that's
Because I mean,
fair.
you have to have emergency exits. They can't keep you contained inside. Even in an escape room, the door's unlocked. They can't physically restrain you, like keep you from leaving the building.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just interested, like the whole. I don't know. The whole concept of it is just kind of stressful, if if I'm completely honest.
That's
Yeah,
very
I mean,
fair.
that's the thing. I don't know if I want to be like immersed in an experience like this for 2 whole days.
Yeah.
I honestly, I see in the next year or so they drop it down to at least a 1-day thing, and that would even make it better for guests. Like, I don't know if for the price point I can justify it, but if I'm able to do it for 1 day, I feel like that's a little bit less out of my Disney trip. It's probably less money, so I'm feeling less bad about it. And depending on what activities and options you have, it may be justifiable at 1 day.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Time will tell.
Well, let's talk about our seasonal topic so we can move off of the depressing and talk about the exciting. So, this topic, I kind of wanted to approach this less as like a blue sky Imagineering thing because I couldn't specifically come up with an entire overlay of an attraction and more of a discussion because I feel like we've talked about the worth of Very Merry and how the fact that you get these overlays like the Jingle Cruise, that's kind of the big thing for those types of parties outside of the stage shows, the fireworks, all that stuff. And I think that little overlays, I mean, if you guys have some big ones, great. I couldn't come up with any big ones, but I think the little overlays, even if they're small, are the ones that as a whole could make up the value of the party. So I kind of wanted to brainstorm together, maybe throw some ideas around, spitball, see where we all land, if there's anything specific that you guys have that we could talk about, just to try to maybe plus up that Christmas party a little bit.
No, I mean that's what I mainly came up with too, and I think it's the actual viable things that Disney could do is just put a little extra effort into a couple of the attractions, to give guests that, that feeling that the Christmas party ticket was really worth the cost.
Did you guys have any specific ones you wanted to start with, or
Well, I had one that I thought would be very easy to do, and bring some love to a often overlooked attraction, especially during the Christmas party, which is Swiss Family Treehouse. How simple would it be to put lights on Swiss Family Treehouse, put ornaments on it, decorate it like a
Mhm.
Christmas tree, and do some of the rooms too. Just add a couple of like Christmas decorations in there. If something like
Yeah.
that would be very low effort, but one, it would add a really cool experience to an opening day attraction, and show that Disney is willing to keep it up. But also, like, I just think it would add a lot of very cool aesthetic to Adventureland, and you've already got Jingle Cruise right there next to it. So why not have this kind of be like, like the entrance, the kind of the weenie to pull the guests over towards the Jingle Cruise. Not that you need it, but I think it would just add some really nice atmosphere to that section of the park too.
I
Yeah.
would
I love
love
that.
if they just did like Christmas lights all over it. Like not even ornaments and things, but like almost give it that Osborne lights effect where the big draw is the sheer number of Christmas lights. Like that I would definitely go back through this with.
Yeah.
Well, I had the idea. So this was heavily inspired by my personal taste and the fact that I absolutely love giant tacky Christmas displays. Like, it brings so much joy and warmth into my heart when I drive by someone's house and you can tell that they've put so much effort into it and none of it matches and it all is just like a bunch of blow up figures and different colored lights and that kind of thing. So I had the idea to overlay the entirety of Frontierland for a country fried Christmas, as I was calling it,
Oh
and
man.
just decorate the whole land with tacky, mismatched, backwoods looking Christmas decor, like the kind that I love, and retheme or overlay the attractions in there. You can have the country bears in their tacky Christmas sweaters singing Christmas songs. You can have them doing classics and originals if they wanted to write some new music. Have a water parade around Tom Sawyer Island with big
Ooh,
floats
oh,
with
I love
characters
that.
wearing tacky Christmas stuff. I was thinking maybe even if you wanted to get real in depth, you could do a Christmas themed scavenger hunt on Tom Sawyer Island and give people
Oh
some
my
reason to go
god.
out there.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Honestly, even if they put lights on Tom Sawyer Island and like a light trail through the island, that would be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
down with all of those.
I
I think
also
we've
thought
already
maybe
found that the solution to like
Yeah.
solving the Christmas party is just put more lights up.
yeah, really
Yeah.
it is. It's like who doesn't want that?
Yeah, it's fair.
We really just want the Osborne lights back and we're trying to make it happen
Yes.
elsewhere.
Put them wherever you want to.
You know
But
what
yeah,
else? Sorry, go ahead. Finish your
no, that's
thought.
the only thing I was gonna add was that I thought that we could overlay Big Thunder Mountain to be like a sleigh ride and add like reindeer and stuff into the displays and snow, like fake snow.
That would be cool. Fake snow on Big Thunder would be neat.
Hmm.
I was just thinking, like you said, the tacky river cruise. Like, what if they did something on the Liberty Bell where when you drive around on the boat, there's like different floating Christmas scenes, or like I don't know,
Mhm.
even like dumb Christmas blow ups and stuff like that. Like that would
Yes. I would
so
love it.
simple. And it's so
Hmm.
tacky. It fits right in with your theme.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's Frontierland, so it's like this is what you would be seeing out in the middle of nowhere kind of displays.
You know what I was another like minor plus that I was thinking was if you did Liberty Square would also be the perfect place for some pop-up Christmas carolers.
Oh
Like
yeah.
even just like colonial festive, but if you want to take it a step further, let's do a new meet and greet and do Muppets Christmas Carol meet
Yes.
and greets
Yes.
out
Yes.
Yes.
there,
Yes.
because I mean like it's the closest thing that you're gonna get to that setting. So you could have a Scrooge meet and greet if you want, or meet some of the ghosts from Muppets Christmas Carol, which I don't know if that's a great idea, but like I don't
Or
know,
like
just
great moments, but Christmas.
Yes.
yeah,
Have a little show in those boxes that they're not doing anything with anymore.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Side note, I'm gonna cut this from the episode because I thought of this. I found somebody in the comments of a Facebook post that worked for Great Moments in History, and I sent them a Facebook message and I was like, "Hey, I would love to chat with you on my podcast about great moments in history since the show closed." And they told me that they weren't at liberty to talk about it because they're still employed by Disney.
Did
Oh.
they
So
did they put a pun in the response to that?
Oh my
no.
god, at Liberty.
Uh yeah, no, that's bad. I didn't
I
even think about
I'm
that.
gonna believe that they did it on purpose.
But they said they couldn't talk because they are still employed by Disney. So
Mm.
I'm wondering what that means, Disney. Anyway,
Yeah. I
back to
mean,
on the record stuff.
it could mean anything just in the sense that when Disney's done with you for one project, they'll move you to a different project, but I would like
I'd
to
like to
believe it's
hope.
because they're not done with great moments.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't still working there, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney was getting their performers to sign like NDAs
Oh yeah,
with that
absolutely.
kind of stuff. So,
Absolutely.
but keep trying.
So back on the record, another like little fun one that I was thinking of was, and I mean we've already seen that they can make changes to this show. I think PhilharMagic would be an easy one to do some like Christmas themed overlays, because there's
Mhm.
so many Disney Christmas scenes in movies or Christmas movies. Now not all of them are great. I mean, some of them are actually pretty bad, but I feel like there would be enough that they could like justify doing an overlay for that attraction, and just doing like, Donald flying through Christmas music, but different scenes of Disney movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
and that's one of those things that Disney already has all of the videos, all of the music rights and everything. It's literally just paying somebody to compile it together, do some pretty short animations to tie it all in, and then boom, you've got a new show. Simple stuff.
Yeah. I had some not Magic Kingdom ones too that kind of tied into that. I'm gonna throw these out there now. Obviously, we're talking about Christmas overlays in general, and I think Living with the Land gets the Christmas overlay. I think these two would be easy enough to do. One of mine that I wanted to suggest would be basically take Soren, but fly over like the different countries as they're celebrating the holidays. I
Oh.
mean, we
like
talked
that.
like last year about how a lot of the holiday traditions are very similar to Christmas, but there's like little mini things that they do that are different. And I think that that would be fun to kind of like one, it would breathe a little bit more life into that attraction. And I think it would be fun to kind of like tie that back into Epcot in a more I guess fitting World Showcasey way.
Yeah, that would be really neat. I like
Yeah.
that.
And then another not Magic Kingdom one that I had was like just give Midway Mania a Toy Story Christmas overlay.
Yes. Yes.
Like
I
how
was
easy
thinking
is
that
that?
too. Again, it's like if Disney's gonna lean into the screen technology and projection mapping, that's fine. Like use it, and this is what you can do when you have that type of technology, you
Yeah.
know? Um, I also had a non-Magic Kingdom one. You guys know that Steven Tyler did a cover of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, right?
Oh
Oh
my
no.
god.
Well, there you go. Need I say more? Disney, hire me. I can get it done on the cheap. All right. All you
Honestly,
gotta
that's
do is
like
throw it in there.
that's such an easy one too, right? Because like,
Mhm.
what do? You play the cover, you throw some Christmas lights around like the cheap Hollywood cardboard cutout signs that Rock and Roller Coaster has, and then you
Yep.
throw up like a Christmas tree at the end. Okay, it's a Christmas overlay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom. Boom.
On a similar note, I had the same idea but with Space Mountain, where you throw some Christmas lights in there in strategic places and just play upbeat Christmas music as you ride.
I think the one that was suggested on the show notes doc was Trans-Siberian Orchestra over Space
Oh
Mountain,
my god, that
which
would be
like
Yes.
crazy and have lasers and stuff.
that would be
It
so cool.
it would be perfect. The only issue I see is that I'm not sure if you'll actually be able to hear the music over the sound of the track as you're going over it. But
Yeah,
Honestly, if they play it loud enough, like just blow
true.
out everybody's eardrums.
Low-key, have y'all ever seen TSO live?
no,
No.
have you?
Yes, I went a
Is it
couple years ago with my
incredible?
mom, and it was honestly overwhelming.
I can imagine.
It
Like,
was really cool and awesome, but like I feel like I could have gotten the same experience out of like, if I had gone and sat for like, 30 minutes of it and not left completely overstimulated like I did after like 2 hours of it. But it was really
oh,
cool. I will say everyone should definitely try it once. But man, I hate Space Mountain. But I don't know if it would make me like it more or hate it more because it would just be so overwhelming. But I would definitely give it a shot.
that would definitely be sensory overload for multiple
Hmm.
senses.
Yes, for sure.
So I'm trying to think of like uh, bringing it back to Christmas in Magic Kingdom to make the party worth it more. I think that would be a great overlay, but I feel like Tomorrowland should be relatively easy to overlay as Christmas, but I just can't figure it out. Like I'm looking at Tomorrowland, like pictures of Tomorrowland to try to figure out a way to bring more Christmas to there, and it feels like it should be easy, but I'm just not finding anything.
So,
Well,
I
I'm here
mean,
to tell you the way that they're doing it or the way that they were doing it when I went to the Christmas party a couple years ago in Tomorrowland, that ain't it.
Oh
I don't
well.
want to see a stage show where Buzz Lightyear tries to befriend Zurg in the spirit of Christmas.
oh wow,
Like,
that's
and then there was like this whole like Stitch kidnapping Santa Claus plot in the
Isn't that
stage
just
show.
isn't that just Nightmare Before Christmas?
It was just I felt like it was very bizarre. Like it felt like a fever dream, honestly.
doesn't sound good at all.
So there's a
No.
lot of room for improvement there.
I
So
think you could take Space Ranger Spin and throw some
Christmas
lights and
lights.
Christmas hats on some of the characters too. Yeah. I mean, honestly, we look at Jingle Cruise being like the go-to comparison, and that's basically all it is, but people love it because it just adds a little extra something, you know? There's
Mhm.
so much that you can do with that with a ride like, you know, Buzz Lightyear that it literally is pretty much just like cardboard cutouts throughout the whole ride. So just it's already like kitschy and janky, just lean into that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I got another easy one. You just do Enchanted Tales with Belle, and you make it the Enchanted Christmas with Belle, and you
That
just do the plot of that movie instead of the plot of Beauty and the Beast.
that's good.
That's so easy.
And especially with
Yeah.
something like that that's, you know, such performer based, it's just like, yeah, just write a new script and have them do that.
And you could have her in that like special red dress gown thingy, and it
Yeah.
could be like a special photo op. Cause you know, that's really I feel like that's wild to me that that's people's main impetus for going to the holiday parties a lot of times is just for the exclusive meet and greets. Which don't get me wrong, they're cool, but like it's all about the entertainment for me. But meet and greets are some people's thing, so I feel like that could be a good selling point if somebody's a big Beauty and the Beast fan. They
Yep.
want to get Belle in that red dress.
You know, this isn't necessarily a Christmas overlay, but I just had a thought. What if um they had at the Christmas party as like an exclusive dining option, like a full-on Christmas dinner for the night that you're staying at the party. I feel like obviously the parties are a little late, but like if you did a special dining option that was just like Christmas dinner, but you had kind of like the character meet and greets, like maybe you have the princesses in special costumes and stuff like that walking around at the tables. Like
Mhm.
that may also just sell more tickets.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Like it.
Crazy. I mean, Disney, we're setting you up with the layups here. Come on, just take them.
Oh,
I know, man. I wish we could just like send a bunch of our suggestions somewhere that would maybe get noticed and see how many of them actually stick.
yeah.
Yeah. But
We're
it's
doing this
funny.
for free, man. Y'all ain't even paying us.
But what's funny though is like in talking about this, I don't think that there is a more perfect attraction to overlay than the Jungle Cruise. And I know that that's kind of like, you know, we talk about how great that is as a an overlay, but I feel like it really just it does exactly what I want out of a Christmas overlay so perfectly, but in such a like I don't want to say like kitschy way, but I don't know. That's like everything that I want out of a Christmas overlay.
But it is, you know, it's like the Jungle Cruise is goofy, very tongue in cheek, and like the Jingle Cruise is just more of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's why it works so well.
So, anything else that you guys want to throw out in terms of suggestions for Disney while they're listening to this
I
podcast
do
about how we can make the Christmas party better?
I do want to lament for a moment about the obvious that we don't get Haunted Mansion Holiday or Small World Holiday.
I
I'm
Small
sad
World,
about one of those.
I
you
mean,
know,
I want Small World Holiday because it would give me a reason to actually ride Small World more than once every 5 years.
well, that's the funny thing to me. Like, I think Small World Holiday honestly makes sense for Walt Disney World because you're not really changing much about the ride, right? Like, you're putting a couple little figures in there. I think Haunted Mansion Holiday fundamentally changes the actual attraction to be a Nightmare Before Christmas attraction,
Mhm.
whereas Small World Holiday really doesn't, and that's one that's so confusing to me. Like, I think you kinda lose that whole once in a lifetime guest argument when it doesn't actually change the attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I feel like I'm tired of the once in a lifetime guest argument because attractions go under refurbishment all the time. So like you're gonna miss something. Even if every single attraction was up and running when somebody went on their once in a lifetime trip, there's gonna be some that they don't get to. So just
Yeah.
do it, man. Like, it's now or never. Like, you got to either bite the bullet or we're never gonna get to do it.
Oh, here's a question. You just said that giving Small World a Christmas overlay would make you ride that more than once every 5 years. If they
Mhm.
added a Christmas overlay to the Speedway, would you ride the Speedway?
Well, considering it's been about 5 years since I rode the Speedway, yes, I would.
I think as a Christmas present to everybody, they should just shut it down.
Yeah, just make that
Honestly,
whole area like a Christmas tree trail that you can
well,
walk through.
it's
That would
horrible.
be a much better use of my time, I think.
But I know that we kind of like beat the whole like throw up some Christmas lights idea to death. But how cool would it be if there was just a section of the Speedway where you drove through a tunnel of Christmas lights?
That
Okay.
would be,
I
or
may
even
actually ride it for that.
yeah,
Yes,
like
fine.
I don't know if y'all have this around y'all, but like one of the local parks to us does like a drive-through Christmas light display.
Mhm.
They could do that there. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the speedway cars and all the noise and noxious fumes kind of take away from the experience, but I still think it would be something worthwhile to do.
Yeah.
Just pump in some gingerbread scent like so hard you can't smell the fumes anymore.
They're just like, here, rub this underneath your nose before you
Yeah.
get in the car.
Yes, the full experience.
Well, I have no more Christmas overlays if you guys want to
I
wrap
think the
this up here.
takeaway here is that there is so much very, very simple, low cost things that Disney could do to kind of plus up stuff around the parks for the party. And it's kind of odd that they don't.
Yeah.
Mhm. But then again, the theme in recent years is do as little as we can while charging as much as we can.
But and I get that, but this is like some of this stuff is literally like a couple $100 in Christmas lights to make an attraction a different experience, and simple stuff like that could take away some of the bad press that people say about them not really putting any effort into a lot of areas of the park for the party. So, I mean, the you know, just to be, Disney would probably pay a couple $100 to get one bad review of their parks off of the internet, and so why not dump a little bit of that money into actually making the experiences better? It seems simple to
Mhm.
me.
Brian, you want
Yeah.
some sad truth? Like some
Oh
really, really
boy.
sad truth? Probably
Come
Go
on,
ahead
wouldn't
and hit
Mario,
me
it's
with it.
Christmas.
probably wouldn't even cost them a couple $100 because I'm sure those Osborne lights are just laying in the a bucket somewhere.
In a
You make me
bucket.
sad. Oh, I just see all of them like tangled up in some massive
Yeah,
knot.
the picture in my head was so sad.
But I
Oh.
mean, really though, like what are they doing with that? I mean, I'm sure they probably gave some of the lights to Give Kids the World because they have that Christmas light village now.
Mhm.
But like there were a lot of lights there. Come on now.
They
Yeah,
put
and I
some
mean,
of the Disney Springs, I guess.
but really, I mean, even if you just randomly put some of them around the parks and you could like point to them and be like, oh, I remember that one from Osborne Lights. Like, boom, simple, no cost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or just have like one of those trees that has like synchronized lights and music. I mean, my local zoo does that. Surely Disney can afford it.
You
Mhm.
would think.
Yeah, but in the spirit of Christmas, let's end on a positive note somehow. Anybody got it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
you
another
can't just say that. You gotta have something positive to say, Beth.
Well,
one.
here's my positive note because I guess this is going to be coming out the week of Christmas. Is that I hope that everyone out there is having wonderful, happy holidays and enjoying all of the beautiful displays in your neighborhood and spending time with your loved ones and getting everything that you wished for. How's that?
We're here.
There we go.
It's beautiful.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.